So Germans have very strict social norms, I think. And they think it's very strange if somebody comes up to them and starts speaking to them without a reason. And I see it on their face, like the shock of like, why is she here? Why is she talking to me?
Welcome to the Pommes Box. Today we have a special guest. It's none other my good friend Crystal. We went to the same university, that was RPTU, TU Kaiserslautern, formerly known as TU Kaiserslautern. And we also worked in the same lab or robotics department for a while. And that's how I got to know about Crystal. She was a fun person and she was also very funny.
In
We
the
got
past. Now she's changed.
no, she's changed. Yes, I didn't know this. But yeah, we got connected on that. And she grew up in Dubai and came to Germany to do her bachelor's in molecular biology. Her bachelor's was in German, so she had to also struggle learning the language. I have also seen how well integrated she was to German culture, life, and language during these years. She came around 2019, 2020 to Germany, and yes, today we'll go through her journey where we'll talk about her struggles, fun moments that she had while she was spending her time in Germany. So, welcome, Crystal. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me on here. It was a very nice welcome as well. It's nice to see you two again, and I'm looking forward to this.
Great.
Thank you, thank you. Okay, so let's come to the survival story. That was your first week in Germany when you came, right? It was not only about buying stuff in supermarket or ordering the coffee. You also had to like survive the university lectures. So what was your first week of classes like? How much did you actually understand?
Yeah, that's hard to say. I started university while COVID was happening, so most of my lectures were online. I tried to attend the lectures online at first, and slowly I only relied on the lecture slides.
Mhm.
I did understand most of it, I will say that. A lot of words are also similar to English or French, and I speak French. The biggest problem was the lack of contact, and once I did have contact with the Germans, I realized they speak completely different than what I learned,
Mhm.
and that was another culture shock for sure.
So you didn't have to attend the classes personally, so you got
No,
sent
so
to.
we did have some lab work where we had to be present, but because of COVID and all of the guidelines and everything that was happening at the time, it was mostly online. The lab work was done sometimes in pairs, but there was like glass, like these like panels of plastic or plexiglass, or I don't know what it is, but these panels between us. So it was really awkward, and it was like, okay, I did this, give it to the next person, and then they continue, and then yeah.
Okay. But like the things that you learned in the books, right? The German that you heard, and when you heard it differently in the class, was it too much to handle?
I think it's a lot of work. So I remember the first semester I was really tired just from all of the input. And I don't think it was the biology itself. I think it was learning in a different language. But once I got used to that, I think my second semester was almost a breeze. Third and fourth were ups and downs.
Mhm.
And then five and six were just easy peasy. I was actually enjoying myself and everything was good.
But you need at least level B1 or B2?
C1.
B1 to start.
C1.
C1. So by the time you had come here, you had C1.
No, so learned I learned German at a school, language school, a Sprachschule in Koblenz, and they taught me from, I believe, B1 to C1. So I came here knowing A2, and they taught me from B1 to C1.
Okay.
So, language learning plus your bachelor's altogether would have been a tough time, right?
Yeah, so first I had to graduate from the language school, and then I started my bachelor's.
So,
I don't think I could have juggled both at the same time because the language school was intense courses. It was supposed to be only for 6 months, and yeah, it would have been a lot.
Okay. And now that you just mentioned it was not easy, like very initial, the first semester was difficult to understand, and yeah, things were not that easy. Was there any moment when you confidently used a German word, but later someone told you on face that this is not this, it doesn't work this way, or was completely wrong?
I had a very embarrassing interaction actually. Is this
I mean,
family friendly, or can I can I talk about things
or watching
that
it.
are a little sensitive? Okay. So, for one of my classes, this was actually, I think, third semester. So I should have known at this point. I was here for 3 years or something. But we had to identify these animals, and they were native animals and everything. We had this booklet, and this class was a nightmare. It was lab work that I had to do, like it was mandatory. It was a nightmare. They gave you the most difficult descriptive words, and it was like, oh yeah, chain like, oblong, oblique. Like it was just very, very difficult descriptive words that even the Germans didn't know. So I had to look up every word in that book. It was a nightmare. Anyway, so I come across one animal, and the way the book works is it's like, oh yeah, if the fur is brown, go to page 10. If it has long arms, then go to page 12. And if it has a long tail, then go to this page. So I was looking at the instructions, and I had to know if the tail was brown or black. The word for tail in German means something else as well. You
Okay.
can imagine. So I was looking in that area, and there's nothing there. The animals do not have any reproductive organs. They're just,
Oh,
yeah. So I was looking there for a long time, and I was like, the stomach is white. I don't know what they want from me. There's white fur. Is it then not brown, or is it black? It's not brown or black. I don't know what to do. And my friend, who was an expert at this, was identifying them super quickly. And I was like, psst, psst, it doesn't have a schwanz. It doesn't have a schwanz. And she's like, what do you mean? Look, it's right here. And she points at the tail, and she says, look, it's brown. And I was like, thank you. And I was so embarrassed that you had to identify 5 animals per session. I barely made it through 3. And when the lady came, and I was like, yeah, I only did 3, I'm sorry. And she was like, oh, yeah, usually you need 5 to pass. And I was like, I know, I'm sorry, I don't know what to do. And she was like, oh, it's fine, just do 2 more next week. And I was like, thank you.
but
That's
yes. Okay, so anyways, we can give the vocabulary. It's called a Schwanz, right? It can mean tail and also a dick or a cock. But yes, there are words like this in German. I cannot quickly think of others, but yeah.
For example, geil means really cool, but also horny.
Okay, so one more thing.
But this one I was warned. I was warned when I learned the word.
Because yeah, we tend to so Gail, right? We tend to say that so
Yeah.
often when we're speaking. Yes, yes, fun for
that was
Germans, right?
Sachin compliments my German very often, but I always have to remind myself that his German is also near perfect.
Who's?
Yours.
Yes, Yain.
Yeah, you said yeah, and that's enough.
Um,
okay.
yes. So this question, particularly talking about the academic and social gap. So I mean to say, when you come to the class or when you're learning in the classroom, right? You have different German, and the one you hear from the professor is like another level, right? So how do you like what was the transition like? Or how much looking up of dictionary you had to
Dictionary.
do, or did you rely on some other materials to catch up with that pace? Did you? Yeah.
So while they are speaking, I don't think I needed that much help. It was more when I was learning that I needed more help, and Google Translate was my best friend back then. If I had ChatGPT, I think I would have used that, but yeah, I definitely used Google Translate the most. I know some people like DeepL, but I
Yeah.
never liked the setup, and yeah,
I was a big fan of Deep.
it wasn't for me. I just liked Google Translate. Yeah, I had the most difficulty, I think, with stuff like zoology, where you needed to know like very descriptive words and characteristics for animals, because, in the language school, they teach you everyday words and not how to say beak and paw and all of these.
But the pacing, like you got used to it by continuous listening of the lectures, or did you go for any podcasts or some zoology YouTubers in
I
German?
don't think I ever had a problem with the pacing, but
Mhm.
I also was lucky enough that I always had the lecture slides in front of me, so I could read along.
Ah, okay.
So
But the words, how did you like master them? Like, was it your memory very good at it?
I'm a computer. I memorize every word I ever come across.
Were
No,
you
not
like a
at all.
Terminator, or did you use any
Exactly.
program?
Yes, it's downloaded into my program and then it's there. No, there's many words, I mean, until today that I have to hear again and again, and even then I'm like, wait, what does that word mean? Um,
Um,
and I still mix them up, and when I learn a new word that's kind of similar and I forget.
You're trying to mix.
Yeah.
Okay.
so your PhD is also in German, or do you have to?
No, so master's in Germany is usually already in English, and PhD is also in English.
Okay. So
Okay.
you switched from German to English.
English.
Yeah. The problem is that, for example, my first week in my master's program,
Hmm.
I get there and I'm like, oh, finally, it's in English. I can relax. I don't have to concentrate as much. I don't have to make as much effort. And English is shorter, so you don't have to write as much to say the same thing. So I was like looking forward to it, you know. And then the first class, the professor looks around and he's like, "Oh, I think everyone here can speak German, right? Let's stick to German." And then he continued in German. And I was like, "Yeah, wherever I go." I was like, if I could only pretend, but he knows me, so I couldn't have said like, "Oh no, I don't speak German."
How did you manage taking notes, Crystal, in your bachelor's when they explain it in German and you had to make your running notes? How did you manage to do that? Do you have some cheat code for that?
I wish if I did, I think I would use them. It's actually, I struggled a lot with that. I ended up writing my notes in English and in German at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever words I didn't know, I usually wrote in German and then underneath the translation in English. That did help, I think. I wrote in different colors as well. I think that's my cheat code for learning the language and also the word.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, but otherwise, it was a struggle. I'm also not very quick. I'm in general pretty slow.
So, yeah, that's also a technique what most of us use, right? To write in the language which we know really well, and then in the language which we are learning, compare it and see what works good for us. Yeah.
Do you guys have any cheat codes? I'm curious.
Yeah, I also one thing what I did like what I still do is I'm learning German as well. So what happens is when I write it in English, initially I started learning with writing it in English and then always matching up things. Then I felt it's the German structure, the way of building the sentence structure is a little similar to our mother tongue, which is Malayalam. So then I started watching videos in Malayalam. So the structure and things were quite very similar, like how it's in German. So
Mm.
that made it easier for me. So I think to choose a correct language also is important to when you translate and start studying. For me, it did work better when I was doing the whole of A1. I was always trying to compare it with English, but when I did my A2, I was comparing it with my mother tongue. So it was easier.
Yeah, I do understand that. I also, when I was learning German, I only compared it to French.
Mhm.
It took me a while to actually then go from English, German.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now when I try to speak French, German comes out. because I think I've somehow intertwined them in my head.
That's true, right? After some time, the other language takes to take precedence over your actual language,
Yeah.
and you forget also the words, and you start saying that word in German.
Do you remember Javier, who was in the lab as well? He studied learning languages and he knew like seven or eight languages, or he was studying them. He was also studying like Russian, Japanese, like completely different languages, you know? And I spoke to him about this and I said, yeah, like when I'm learning a language, I'm starting to like mix them up and I can't repress them. And he said, yeah, there's actually two parts to learning a language. There's language acquisition, where you learn the words, and there's also language suppression, where you repress your mother tongue or your other languages. And it sounds like you have really good language acquisition, but your repression is not that good.
So repression is when you
Try not.
take things from your language, mother tongue, and then.
So yeah, so if I'm forget a word and I use the German word for example, then I have bad repression, so I'm not repressing the German well enough.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yes, for me, I never did much of reading because my master's was in English, and my goal was only to like speak, to talk to people. So I was, yes, I was looking up the words, and I was also making flashcards. So that kind of helped me because in the end, it's memory, words that you know, and just saying them right. And I was taking German classes for grammar. So I put everything together and yeah, somehow it worked out. Yes. But I guess reading also tremendously improves your language, right? Because you get to see the structure of the sentence and the grammar and also vocabulary. So I guess you're consuming a lot compared to everything else, I believe. What do you think?
I think so too. I think any kind of media that you digest and consume is really good. I remember when I was learning German, I could understand nothing. When people were speaking, I could understand everything if I'm reading something, but if people are speaking, I understood nothing. And then I listened to a bunch of podcasts and stuff, and then, because I was listening to so much stuff, and then slowly I put it to 1.5 speed and then 2 times speed, because that's usually how I listen to my podcasts and audiobooks.
German as well.
Yeah, German as well. So it took a while, but then by the end of it, I was. And I remember going into my exam and thinking, this is so easy. After having failed it before, well, not failed it, but didn't do well in the practice one. Yeah, it definitely improved a lot. I did have problems with reading comprehension, and my friend was like forcing me to read these newspapers, and they're really written in a formal language.
Which one?
I I was still living in Koblenz at the time. And I don't know if it was the Rheinland-Pfalz. It could have been because
Okay.
they're still the Rheinland-Pfalz, but
Yeah.
it was just some newspapers that they delivered all the time. So it
But
was written.
those are even harder. I mean,
Yeah,
the newspaper.
newspapers.
They're really heavy. They're really heavy, like formally and
Yeah.
vocabulary wise. And I remember having to read like paragraphs and paragraphs, and I could understand some of it, but then I was forced to read it out loud as well to improve my pronunciation. Yeah, my friend was really hard on me, but it did improve my German, so.
Thanks to your friend,
Friend.
right?
Yeah.
This is your chance to say officially thanks online.
No, it's okay.
Okay, so what's your personal hack for sounding more fluent than you are?
So I have now had a little more exposure to Felsisch. So for example, if you say something is working, usually in Hochdeutsch you would say es funktioniert. Felsisch you would say something like es geht, or like, yeah, a little less formal basically.
Okay.
And I was told that that's Felsisch. I thought it was just more like slang that anyone would use, but apparently some places in Germany would not say that. They would use other words. Yeah.
So you're picking up this specific words like slangs and
Yeah.
things like that to sound more.
So instead of saying ich gehe schlafen, I say ich.
I mean, I also hear these things, but I don't know. I don't feel somewhat so comfortable saying it like they
Me
do.
neither. It feels strange for me too, but yeah.
Maybe that's because we are too used of the bookish
Or
or
Hochdeutsch, I
the
guess.
Hochdeutsch way, the way
Yeah.
we learn, right? So we
Yeah.
We tend to follow the same in daily life.
Completely true. Yeah. Yeah. I think so. It's weird for me to say it right now, but when I'm with a bunch of people, I don't even know if I said it correctly actually, but when I'm with a bunch of people who also say that all the time, it's super natural. Yeah.
But yeah, that's another thing. It's very hard to understand them when they speak like this, and I'm like, please repeat. I don't get you.
I had a friend, his name is Simon. You can mention him. I will mention him in the podcast. Simon. So he speaks really quickly and very heavy dialect. And for the first, I knew him for like 3 years for my bachelor's, and I didn't really have to interact that much with him. But whenever I did, I was like, "What? What? 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 What?" And his English is so bad. I'm sorry, Simon, but your English is so bad. It really is. And he always says like he got C2 in C1 in English, and he's so proud of it. And congratulations to him. But his English is really bad, so I can't speak to him in English, and he doesn't speak Hochdeutsch much.
Okay.
He mostly speaks dialect. And then for my master's, I had a lot to do with him because he's in my department, and I had to learn basically his dialect to understand him. And it took a really long time, but I think after like a month or so, I understand him now really well.
Good. And I guess also ChatGPT does a good job. I have not experimented too much, but I wanted to sound like Failsish in one of the group chats we have in the building. I put that and told like convert into Failsish, and now I am going to copy paste the same thing in the group.
That's so funny. I didn't know it could do that actually.
But also, when you suddenly spoke about Failsish, there's also dictionary by Langenscheidt. It's like the tiny book, like €5 or something. So tiny. Okay, this much. Yeah, it has full Failsish vocabulary that you can
I need
use.
that.
You definitely need that.
Yeah, I do
Then
need
again,
that. That's really nice. No, so everything I had to learn was basically just from hearing people. I
uh,
do have a friend who speaks Felsish, but it's very close to Saarländish,
hmm,
and it's also very hard for me to understand. And she spoke to me just in that dialect for a really long time.
hmm.
And then she was tutoring one of the classes I was going to. I chose a different appointment because I was like, I'm so sorry, like she's my friend and I really enjoy her, I enjoy talking to her, but I don't know if I can study a class with her. So I took a different appointment where it wasn't her. And then I asked my friends who did go to her appointment if it was really hard to understand her. And they said, you were being so dramatic. We thought we wouldn't understand anything. She speaks perfect Hochdeutsch. And I was like, what? This is not the person I know. This is not the Sophia I know. And then I went to her and I was like, Sophia, do you speak Hochdeutsch? And she was like, yes, of course. I'm educated. I went to school. And I was like, why did you make me suffer then?
Oh,
Why? And she said, yeah, I thought you should learn. I was like, this is the most German thing I've ever heard. Why did you make, I couldn't understand you for so long. Yeah.
that's true.
You missed a class then. You missed hearing her speak.
And I told her like from now on we speak Hochdeutsch, and she was like, no, no, you have to learn.
Learning a language is one thing, and learning this
Dialect
dialects
system.
is again pain in the yes.
But she's right. I mean, I did learn.
So, Crystal, so now coming to the real few trauma stuffs here. How traumatic was getting the German driving license? Was it easy? You want to speak about your experience there?
So the only traumatic part, I think, is the amount of money I had to pay.
That's a
It
really
was very expensive. I did have to save up for that. Otherwise, the actual driving lessons and driving tests were pretty okay. I didn't do that well on my test. I heard so many things that was like really, really, they're really strict and everything. So at first I was doing really well, but then my nerves kept getting worse. And towards the end, I couldn't even believe that I passed because I almost got into an accident twice. And my examiner said, "Oh, with you we can only drive for 20 minutes and then it gets worse and worse." And I was like, "I'm sorry." And he was like, "Yeah, drive safely, don't do anything stupid, don't get nervous, and you're fine." And then he gave me my driver's license. So it was a good experience. The lessons were perfectly fine.
Mhm.
She had a woman teaching me, and she was not harsh, but she was really strict. Yeah, she was knallhart.
Now
Okay.
hard is like really hard, right, or strict.
Yeah, really strict. Like very square, very.
But I guess that driving school is doing just fine with good reviews, and I guess you also can speak English. So,
I think so too. Yeah,
what was the name again? It was Farshula.
I know her name is Laura Rosen something.
Ah,
Yeah,
Laura
and it's
something.
like Drive Through KL or something
Yeah,
like
drive through
Drive
drive. Yeah.
through.
that.
If people, Kyle, if you're watching this, you can go to her for
Yeah,
license.
she's great. She was really nice. She's not complicated or like
Hmm.
difficult to deal with as a person. She's really sweet, but she's pretty strict. I think so too. So I spoke to someone else
Yes.
who was also with her. We met in the class together in the theory class, and then we saw each other during the exam. And I was like, "Oh yeah, how's the driving lessons going?" And he says, "Yeah, she scares me." And I was like, "Yeah, I know she is kind of scary because she's really strict." And then he said, "Yeah, for the first for the first lesson, she was like, go to this like I don't know what you call it, Opelkreise,
Hmm.
Yeah.
the big
Round.
Roundabout.
roundabout. Yeah, the big roundabout near Industriegebiet,
Hmm.
near like IKEA and Globus and everything.
Yeah.
Right.
And that roundabout is a nightmare. It's horrible. Like, even if you're an experienced driver, you don't know which lane you're supposed to be on. Everyone's like
Hmm.
fighting for their lives.
Right.
And it's really scary. And he said, like, oh yeah, that's where I went for the first lesson. I was like, yeah, me too. He like drove me through like the most difficult to drive through areas
Hmm.
in the city, and apparently she does that straight into the deep end. And yeah,
Am I sensing some Schadenfreude here?
no, I mean, I don't know. Like, I think it was good because I was really nervous to drive,
Hmm.
and she made me do the hardest parts first, and then afterwards everything else was
Yes.
Yeah.
filler.
But I guess there are even scarier stories regarding driving license and even
For
stricter teachers. So I guess
Yeah.
you are okay.
Yes, no, for sure. I heard a lot of horror stories as well. Yeah.
Okay, the one of the problem in Germany is making friends. It's not an easy thing, and I've seen you doing this at least. So how did you crack the German friendship formula? What's your secret?
So Germans have very strict social norms, I think, and they think it's very strange if somebody comes up to them and starts speaking to them without a reason. Um, and I see it on their face, like the shock of like, why is she here? Why is she talking to me? But what you have to do is ignore that. You just ignore that, and you just be really friendly and really nice and polite, because they are very polite, even if they're not very warm. And they're always polite. And you just have to be bubbly and nice and outgoing and make up for their lack, for
Right.
their mangel.
I guess once you speak, after that, they don't have a problem giving away some information or continuing the
Yeah.
conversation. It's not like they
So
constantly bombard after that, but they would speak or, it's not like a one word answer. They would definitely give you more information.
Information.
I completely agree with you. There are some who will only give one word answers, and then they don't ask you, how about you?
Right.
I think for me, it's important to remember, okay, it's not personal. These people are just shy, because
Mm,
I have cracked these people as well. It just takes a little longer, and they're not really used to it. But once they get used to you and you being like really open and everything,
yes.
and I have the excuse that I am an international student, so they're like, oh, she doesn't have the same social norms as us. Even though I know them, I just ignore them. Yeah. Uh, and I think that's the best way to make friends. Just
Ignore their
make them
social.
come out of their comfort zone a little bit and just be
Yeah.
really nice and polite before anything else. Yeah.
That's great.
That's true. I mean, in general, they're not talkative or they don't talk. They should have a meaning. They have meaning for everything, right? So there's no meaning talking to a stranger.
Yeah,
So don't do it.
exactly. Especially if they haven't seen you before. That's really
Mhm.
Mm.
difficult. I was at an event this week actually, and I saw this. older woman, like on her own. And I decided to go talk to her, and apparently she was the most important person in the event. She was really shocked I came to talk to her. And then I was like, oh yeah, I'm just a clueless person here, la la la. Just here to talk to you.
Security.
And she warmed up to me really quickly. She was actually really friendly and really nice. And then later, when I went to see my friends and I was like, oh yeah, I spoke to her, they were like, this lady's not right in the head.
Thank God you didn't end
So,
up in the jail. That's what they've done.
Right? Yeah. It's like if you don't know, you don't know. And it's actually to your advantage. Because I think if I did know who she was, I wouldn't have gone up to her, but not knowing.
Yes, and
that's crazy.
I guess this is what I think. Okay, but I don't know it's real. Like only when if internationals go to them, it feels like we are going to them for some kind of help. So maybe they're also scared, like if this person is asking for help. So maybe that's also one thing because given so many events that are happening around us, right? I guess they're also like always scared about people approaching them unless you are Germans.
I completely agree with what you're saying. And I did use that a lot in my bachelor's. So I would usually start a conversation with something like, oh, yeah, what time is this lecture or where is it? And they think that I'm just asking for something small and then they kind of like loosen up. I don't think they're not at the university, at least, they're not going to think you're asking for money or something. But they do often assume that you need something if you're coming up to them. I don't know if it's because we're international students or they just think that in general because nobody talks to them. They would rather get lost and die or something before talking to a stranger. So I do usually ask something small, and that usually leads to a conversation. I remember one of my friends, Annika, I liked her shoes, and I was like, oh, you know what? Let me ask her if she has this paper because I hadn't printed it. And I was like, oh yeah, do you have this paper? Did you print it? And she was like, what paper? And I was like, oh, we had to print this paper. I didn't print it though. I hope it's okay. And she was like, oh, I didn't know anything about this. I thought the conversation died there, and I was like, I wanted to play this. Oh, I need something from you, and you give it to me, or you tell me about it, or something, and it like completely backfired. And I was like, okay, well, I guess a lady with a nice shoes. It was nice to meet you, and then I was gonna like walk away, and then she was like, oh, let's go around and ask people if they have extras, or if we can go somewhere else to print them. And I was like, yay, I do have a friend. And then we went around and. Yeah. We formed a team.
So try and experiment, right? You never know.
First, we have to approach. That's the best way.
Do you guys have many German friends? Sachin, I know you have a lot.
Not much.
I mean, it is always easy when you're in that environment because you see them every day, right? And it's like your second home. So in the office, it was very easy because in that environment, you're talking with your colleagues, and that colleagues is talking to some other guys, or like after for Abend beer or something, people stay, and there you get to talk very casual stuff, right? Silly things, and that really opens up people. But in general, like, yeah, it is not easy to strike a conversation to somebody on the road and then convert that into a long-term friendship or something, because you always need to show up multiple times to be in their zone, to get their trust, and only then they would like really talk. And privacy is also an issue, right? So nobody would really open up and say a lot of things about themselves in the first meet. So yeah, always in some activity. That is the most easiest way to befriend German, according to me. That's what I think.
Even for me also, I don't have too many German friends. His German friends are my friends, not all, but few of them. Apart from that, I have few students who are like learning with me, like when I teach language, who are Germans. So in that way, I have few friends. That's it. Not very close friends to say, not much.
I think so. Part of the German norms is also they consider usually, okay, work friends and personal friends are different, or private friends are different. And you need to kind of push to become a private friend. So go from a work friend to a private friend. And that can be hard. So what I usually do is say something like, "Oh, let's grab a coffee sometime," or something like that, outside of work hours or something, like make sure that they know. Or what helps sometimes is like, "Oh yeah, this movie's coming out. I have no one to go with. Do you want to come with me?" Something, not very, how do I say, high pressure usually works. But yeah, I think it is kind of hard. I did have like some people where I wanted to be friends with them, and then I realized, oh, actually, I think I'm just a work friend. I'm not an actual friend, which is not for us a thing, I think. Like, for me personally, I
Yeah.
never thought of it like that. You're either a friend or you're not. And for them, it's
That's also true. That's again like classifications of friend
Different
inside a
friends.
friend. But for us, it's like, okay, friend.
Everyone are
So,
friends, like
right.
irrespective of work or family, the
Yeah.
real friends still
Yeah.
all the same.
yes. So keep pushing, keep pushing.
So, Crystal, what's that one German habit now that you have been long time here? What's one that habit that you adopted yourself so that way back home your friends would roast you for that?
Or
I
your
don't know if I have any German habits, but I have like German traits. So now if strangers come to talk to me in university and stuff, in an environment that I know, I'm perfectly fine. But if strangers talk to me, for example, in the queue, and if I'm queuing in Dubai or something, I don't like that. I'm like, why are we talking to strangers? Don't talk to me. Whereas like before I wasn't like that. I think their reservation has rubbed off on me a little bit. I think also the state of the world has rubbed off on me a little bit.
so the privacy rules are gone stricter now than before.
Yes, I think so too. If it's someone my age or something, I have no problem with that. But if it's an older person, I usually don't enjoy.
That's true. Um, yeah, even the privacy changed after coming here. I started sharing. I stopped sharing stuff more than before. I don't.
Like on the internet, like social
Yes,
media.
Mm.
yes. Yeah, this happened only after coming here. Before I didn't have a problem. But apart from that, like any positive thing that you were eating more pommes than before than when you went to Dubai, something like that happened.
I'm eating more in general, as you can tell by my face.
I thought it was from your last trip back home.
Both, both. I'm eating more here, and then when I go home, I eat even more. Any
Okay,
positive?
this
I
is not
think
so German,
This
eating
is
more.
not German habit.
I
You're
think the
picking up.
opposite, actually. I'm more mindful of doing sports, which I don't think I was before. I just was doing a bunch of activities without really thinking about it.
Oh,
Whereas here, I'm like, oh, I need to do a sport.
okay.
No, that's true.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Good.
here people tend to include sports in their daily life
Area.
a lot compared to
Yeah.
yeah, way back home. For us also, it's quite different. In India, we were never thinking of like say walking, especially here we walk a lot. Even maybe jogging or cycling, small activities which we wouldn't never think of way back home, but here it's a very common thing that it's included in our daily life here.
Okay, Crystal. So this was all the real journey part. Now we come to the
Fun part.
fun part. Okay. In English, we call it as PJs as well. I don't know if you have experienced too much in German, but today you'll experience
Poor Joe's?
poor
Poor
jokes.
jokes.
Okay, jokes. Okay.
Poor jokes.
So here's the question for you here.
Yeah, these are silly questions. So, first one. Warum können Katzen so gut programmieren?
Ich weiß es nicht.
Weil sie viele Mausklicks machen. Think, think. Next one. Warum ging der Computer zum Arzt?
Zum was?
Zum Arzt.
Zum Arzt. Weil der erkältet ist.
Close, but think in terms of computer.
Weil der ist krank, hat einen Bug.
Weil einen Virus
Klar.
virus.
Ja.
Okay.
Uh, this one is a bit tough, but let's try.
Rechnen.
Yeah. Why can the bees do the max very good?
Max.
Yeah, why are the bees so good at math? Math. Good rechnen. But yeah, this is tough actually. While sie den ganzen Tag summen. Because summen, this I didn't know. Summen means,
Summe.
yeah, you know, right? The buzzing is called summen. Like addition is
To sum
also,
up.
To
Yeah,
some is also called sum.
I
So
got
sum.
this.
Yeah, this was a tough one. Next one. Was marked ein Fisch am Computer. What does a fish do on a computer?
Bluebird?
Er surfed or surfed
I
im
surf.
Internet.
Yeah, that's so bad. They don't surf.
Internet surfing was a term.
Yeah, but the fish does not surf. He stays underwater. Not. I
She
don't
got you.
like
She
this
got
one.
you.
I don't like this one.
Now you're thinking smart. Now you're really coming back to the game. Okay, last one. Wahum had their computer gefrosted. Why did the
Defrosted?
computer shiver? Gefrosted. It's like gefriert, right? Like freeze or gefrosted is to shiver.
Okay.
Wahum had their computer gefrosted.
Because the fan was clogged up.
Think in terms of OS.
Of always?
Yeah.
OS, operating system.
Where else can we get the air from other than fan?
Der Fenster war auf Kipp.
Yeah.
Weil Windows open.
Okay.
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 You survived this. I have one more, which is very short. This is guessing the movie. So one thing, if you know about the movie, is the English name is not the same as in German.
Oh no.
So try to guess this. First one is what is it? Kevin allein zu Hause.
Home Alone. I know that one, so I'm cheating.
Next one is Flucht der Karibik.
Pirates of the Caribbean, of course.
Yes. Did you know this?
I think I might have heard it before.
That's nice. That's
Good, good.
nice.
You got full
Is
point.
this true? No, I want more. This was
This was even fun, right?
Yeah, we should have done a
I
little
mean,
more
I
better.
have two more, but I don't know because they're not so easy. But I have it
Go
handy.
ahead.
Let's
Go
see.
ahead.
Like,
Typ langsam, die slowly, die hard.
yes. Well, I didn't validate this if it is a correct one. Yeah, but it's correct one. Stirb langsam is a
Okay, die hard.
stirb langsam. Mm. Man.
Okay, that was nice, actually. Yeah. So, Crystal, now we have the rapid fire for you. Okay. So, we'll start with the rapid fire. One German word that you say very often.
Genau.
Another one.
Also.
Good. Because genau is the most popular answer.
Okay.
Something about Germany that still makes no sense to you.
Why are we rushing at the supermarket? What is happening? Who is behind them? Are they held at hostage? Are they held at gunpoint? What's going on?
Which supermarket is this?
Every supermarket.
Calm down.
That's true. I have a hard time putting everything back into the cart after that.
Even me, when sometimes when he is not there, I keep myself ready with the cash. Like I count how much I have bought things for. I have it handy, the cash and everything, so that I don't make them wait or I feel it.
Yeah, I don't pay with cash anymore. I only pay with contactless. Like, no way. It's too stressful.
Okay. A German habit that you picked up that you're not so proud of.
I think I'm not so proud of being a little more private.
Okay. Finish this. Germans are surprisingly good at dash.
They're surprisingly funny. Like, if you actually know them, they're actually really funny. And if you understand their humor, they're really funny.
Okay.
Okay. So, obviously. Okay. So the next one. Germans are surprisingly bad at.
What are they surprisingly bad at?
Making friends.
But that wasn't surprising, you know? That's something I knew before coming here.
Okay, leave the surprising part. Just take it
What
as
are they bad at?
What are they bad at?
they're good at
Lots
everything.
of things. I don't know. But also, it's very different from person to person. I think in general, they're pretty bad at socializing.
Or bad at listening to German music. They listen to more English.
I mean, have you heard German rap? It's really bad. I don't blame them.
Okay, so this is good. Germans are surprisingly are bad at making rap songs.
I don't think that's surprising. I don't like rap in general.
And I guess Germans like it, the German rap. I had an office friend, he used to like the German rap. Okay,
Next one.
you want to?
So, the driving test or learning German? Which one made you cry first?
Definitely learning German. I don't think I ever cried for both. I think I enjoyed both.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I wish I could have been like, it was so horrible. I cried every day. But I did cry for uni. I cried a lot for uni.
Like uni, the surviving in uni or?
Yeah, like failing exams. My
Oh,
bachelor thesis was
okay.
traumatic.
So, that's an end for our rapid fire questions. Next, we have is a Pommes question. Since our podcast is the Pommes Box, we always have a Pommes question. Yeah.
Yes. Pommes as a side meal or pommes as a meal for the rest of your life in Germany. It's a side meal. You don't want
I
to.
really like pommes, but I think on its own, I get bored of it really quickly.
But have you ever customized pommes in a way like, adding some weird combination?
Let me think. Yes. So my parents like to make this sandwich, which is basically bread, hummus, tomato, and mayo.
Hmm.
And if you have like, sorry, ketchup and mayo. And if you have like tomatoes, like really sliced thinly. And if you want lettuce, but I don't really like lettuce, pickles, and bread. So you have a sandwich of French fries. It's really good.
The Pommes
Okay.
sandwich.
Yes, the hummus sandwich. I recommend it, especially if it's like a day old hummus, because they're not that good the next day. In the sandwich, they're not as bad. And if you have cheese, you can put cheese in there as well. Melting.
I
Nice.
think we can start a new business in Germany because there is more than 1 day old pommes here or something.
Yeah.
Or so much going waste because they like to eat it really crispy, right?
Yeah. There's a lot of things you do with the next, like fried rice has to be done with 1 day old rice.
Rice. Yeah.
Brioche. I think it's called brioche. Brioche for French toast, you have to use a day old brioche. It has to be a little stale so that it really sucks in the egg and milk.
Okay, but not pommes.
Not pommes. Pommes is always better fresh. But for the sandwich, you need day old, or you can use day old.
That's great. That's great. Yeah.
Fantastic, Crystal. So that's a wrap. We really had fun talking with you and sharing a lot of fun stuff, your journey, your struggles. Thank
Thank
you
you
once
so much.
again.
I also had lots of fun.